Tier 19 last Imperial. Tier 19. We're climbing some heights now. Hi guys, I'm Winters SEO. Thank you to my live stream. We'll be entertaining each other this evening as we ask the question, do we really want to talk about Tau? I'm not sure we do. I'm not sure even the Tau community want to talk about Tau that much. And the plan was, you see, I'd be sat here with the Tau Codex, so I could really talk about Tau for those people who wanted to talk about the Tau. But I gave the Tau Codex to Sultan because he was interested in the Tau. He has a Tau army, the Scepter of the Summer Lightning, gorgeously painted by Den of Imagination, and he wants to play them against me. So he needs to see the book first, of course. So he's got the book. So I can't. I am Kroot. The Tau Empire army set has no Tau in it. Someone answered me this question as well. Can you buy the codex separately, or can you only get it through the army set? I still don't know the answer to that question. Cheers everyone in the chat. Cheers to everyone in the VOD club, VOD squad, watching this later. VOD squad, hello. Hello to everyone in the chat. Thanks for joining me this Talkie Tuesday, Tau Talkie evening. Hello to everyone in the Mug Club as well. We're still only 9, number 48 of us, but we're an elite breed. It will be sold separately soon. Of course it will be sold separately soon, but that doesn't answer the question of whether it will be sold separately at the time the Tau Army box set comes out. Because it's up for pre-order now. And then when that box comes out, can you get the codex separately, or do you have to get the box separately? I don't know. Does anyone know in the chat? You'd think it'd be something I'd know. You'd think it'd be something they'd tell me. But I don't know these things, and they don't tell me nothing. All I know is what you know, and sometimes you don't know what you know. The chat right now, army set only, I believe. You will have to wait to get the codex. That's how they did it with Dark Angels. Skip the Tower, they are a silly faction. Let's not go to Camelot. It is a silly place. He calmed down a little bit about it. You've calmed down about the crisis suit changes. The crisis suit changes. Why can't you bring them in units of 6? You know nothing, Jon Snow. I know nothing either. But it looks like it's going to be the Dark Angels thing then. It looks like this box is going to be available, and then a couple of weeks later you'll get the codex, which is... It's a pretty crappy way to do it, isn't it? But... You know, those Kroot models look lovely. They look lovely. Evening, Wolf Boot Chronicles still haven't changed your name to Stylus. Wolf Boot Chronicles is Stylus. Don't listen to the lies. One day he will change it to Stylus and I'll fall off my chair. That's how they do it with every army. Got to get those extra sales from people who can't wait. Yeah, it just, yeah. If it didn't work as a business model, they wouldn't do it, would they? Really? FOMO in full gear. Kroot can be added extra. Do the Tau still have those blue flying bug auxiliaries? Yes, they do. Vespids are still around. Vespid Stingwings. And they're still terrible. Tau are just more Xenos for my sons of Horus to destroy. Exactly. The Tau are just in the way, aren't they? I mean, do we want to talk about Ket Tau? I'm not sure people, you know. So you're going with Custodes instead. Oh dear. I mean, are there any Tau players in the chat? Hands up. And then yes, if you're a Tau player that actually is interested in the Kroot in the Tau box. So hands up any Tau players. Yes is for anyone who's interested in the Kroot, because Sultan's a Tau player and he wasn't that interested in the Kroot. But it looks, the models look good. Nobody cares about the Tau, says Monkey, coming in going, boom. We've got one, yes. We've got a Kroot player, yes. There's one of you out there. I mean, you're sneaky and hard to find, right? The whole Kroot, all the Kroot, there's 9 Kroot data sheets in the Tau Empire book, and they will have stealth. That's quite nice, because if you blow your nose in their general direction, they will fall over. Tau, but not that interested. Tau player, technically, what? Oh, you're skipping the Codex and Edition, so you're not technically a Tau player now. Stephen Yates is a yes. We've got 2 yeses. 2 Tau players who are actually interested in the crew. That's nice then. That's nice that you're out there. It's nice that there is a market for it. I think a lot of hobbyists, hobby-eye, they're interested in the little crew models as well, and Narlock. Any new model, any new cool alien models. And let's face it, crew, cool aliens. Crew, they eat their enemies. Yum, yum, yum. They're cool from a modeling point of view. I am Groot. What's the new Chaos stuff we're going to see in 2 days? I saw the Joy Toy picture of Abaddon, Joy Toy of Abaddon and Joy Toy of Horus, and the Joy Toy of Abaddon looks even made me, and I don't collect Joy Toys, I haven't got any Joy Toys. Even I looked at that thinking, oh my Emperor, that is a beautiful model. The Joy Toy of Abaddon, it looked creamy. And then Chaos is coming soon, and Custodes, isn't it? Chaos Custodes in the spring. No, Orcs as well at some point. Not sure what's coming next. The Eternal Crusader says it's Chaos in the next 2 days, right? Chaos in the next 2 days. You see the new Chaos Lord silhouette? No, I don't really. Those rumor mill things, I just wait till them. I don't look at them often. I might stumble. Yeah. So Chaos next, good, because I've got a couple of Orc battle reports that I've filmed that I need to get out before they change all the things. Well, they won't change all the things, because from the index to the things, it stayed the same in most cases. You can still bring the index stuff, like the Gladius Strike Force is still here. The Tyranid Invasion Fleet is still here. And the cat is trying to get in the... Hello? Listen. Kitty cat. They can't see you down there. If you want to sleep on the Donny is there. But I'm going to be talking and things, and you don't like it when I'm talking and you're trying to go to sleep. What are you doing? Use both brain cells. No, I'm not. You can stay if you want to. Are you staying? You're going in the Donut of Doom. You're not going in the Donut of Doom. Don't know what he wants. Hello. Hi, we're back. Found the other Tau collector. There was a Tau in the collector. There was a collector in the Tau. That new Custodes models with the shield. Yeah, the new Custodes shield chaplain looks a bit... I'll have to see him in the flesh, because proportionately in the pictures doesn't look great, does he? Sorry, I have to open the wardrobe for the cat, because the cat might want to climb inside. Mr. Turtle, good, you're happy with the new crew. I'm glad. There are some people out there who are definitely happy with the new crew. I do feel they're overcosted in the Codex, though. Very expensive. 85 points for a unit of 10 crew carnivores with toughness 3 with a 6-up save. Ouch. Hi, Craven. Hi, Johnny. Yeah. Of the new 3 standard crisis units, one of them you can't build from the box. I know. Which one is it? There's not enough fusion guns, I think, to build the fire knife. All the ones with all the fusion. If you want a unit of 3 with fusion, I'm pretty certain that you can't build that kit. Has he gone? Thank you. Okay, the door's being magically moved by tech priests and things. Are we talking about sandwiches again? We're not, Craven. I know you're from America and you like food and guns and oil, but we're not talking about sandwiches again. We can if you want to. What we're asking is, do we want to talk about the Tau? There seems to be, I mean, a unit of 3. Have they brought crisis suits down to units of 3 instead of units of 6? Because when you plug in a Cold Star commander in a unit of 3 and they move, shoot, move with a strat, I mean, they move 12, get assault weapons if you have a cold suit commander with a unit of 3. So moving 12 with assault weapons is great. And in the Monkar thing, you pay 1 CPU stratagem and then they can move again. So that's a 12-inch move. Shoot, a 12-inch move. And is it too powerful with units of 6 of them zooming around? And maybe it's been, the points have been and the units have been cut down to 3 and the points have been twisted around to fit a certain play style, rather than the playstyle and the missions built around the wonderful model collection that we have and the narrative that is behind it. Are we twisting from the wrong way? I don't know. Anyway, are we talking about Tau? Tau are so many more interesting. There are so many more interesting factions than Tau, though. Yeah, there's loads of interesting factions. Lots more interesting factions than Tau. I mean, Tau are fairly interesting, though. They've got lots of different... They've got the Crew, they've got the Vespids, they've got human auxiliaries. They're fairly interesting from a lore point of view. And they're quite cute, aren't they? Sort of trying to make their way in the world. Trying to explore across the galaxy. Farsight is like their Horus. Sunstrike is like their... I don't know. You know, they've got their thing going on. They haven't discovered light speed yet. They're cute. I like the Tau. How can they fix the Tau? Quite simply, actually. You need the Tau's guns. When you open up the Tau Codex and look at their guns, not their fighting in close combat, obviously, because they would lose to a lettuce, but their guns. And you open it up and you look at their guns, you go, ooh, ah, and you make weird, nice noises that you would make when you would eat a really tasty curry, you know, ooh, you know, with the spice. That when you just look at the gun profiles. I remember back in the day you had las cannons and then you had rail rifles. Las cannons here, rail rifles there. Now the rail rifles on the X38s are the same strength, damage and AP of a las cannon. It shouldn't be like that. They've only got guns. Space Marines have got las cannons and fists and they can punch them. Whereas Tau, how you fix the Tau Codex? The Tau Codex should go some way to represent what the Tau are, not the Tau Codex being twisted to try and fit in a particular way of playing the game, a la match play card game thing, because when that way changes, it'll all need changing again. It should be done that way, and then the mission. No. That's how you fix the Tau Codex. Rail rifles need to be scary. The plasma gun on the Riptide needs to be scary. If all the strength and toughness of everything in 40k has gone up and everything's got a lot of wounds now and vehicles are tougher, then their guns should be scarier. That's how and going up against Tau, therefore, is a way of you need to get in amongst them, because they'll shoot you to death at range. And it's okay having an army that functions different from the other armies in the game. An army that will shoot you to death at range unless you get in amongst them. It's okay to have an army like that, just like it's okay to have an Orc Horde army that just overwhelms you and have you brought enough gun? Can you bring enough output? Again, it's okay to have different armies that play differently in the game. It's a good thing to have different armies that play differently in the game, rather than squeezing some of the differences between the armies has been squeezed out a bit to make them fit more of a more balanced version of the game for tournament sakes and match play sakes and everyone's happy sakes and but you shouldn't have a 50% win rate against all armies all the time. For example, if I brought along it's okay for a rock to hit a scissors and a scissors to cut the paper. It's okay for those lists to come up against each other every now and then. That's okay too. It's 40k. It's okay. The balanced lettuce will fill the most sandwiches. It might be a Tau stream, Reglass. It might be, but thanks for joining in. Do we want to talk about the Tau? What do we think of the Tau Codex out there? Has anyone got good things to say or bad things to say about the Tau Codex? What's the thing that sprung to your mind when you read or listened to the reviews for the Tau Codexes? What were like good things or bad things? Because for me, I felt sad for Tau players. That's the feeling I felt inside. A little bit of sadness, like they've lost some flavour here. It sounds, Mon-Card detachment is strong. Retaliation cadre is fun. Yeah, 4 detachments. We're not talking about the Eldar. It's good. We're not talking about the Eldar. You like that they've let up the spike. I suppose by splitting up the crisis suits, it means you can take more crisis suits, right? So beforehand, you could only take 3 units. Now you can take 9 units. And each of the crisis suits does have its own flavor. One can fall back and shoot. One's got the invulnerable saves and rerolls wounds and rerolls damage. But they only that one has the invulnerable saves. The other ones don't have the invulnerable saves. It feels like Tau Crisis suits now are going to be very trade out units. You're going to drop them in, they're going to do some damage, then they're going to get hit, and then they're probably going to die. But you've got more smaller units of 3 jumping around to trade with, rather than, say, 2 big units of 6 with a commander in, just dealing damage. I guess if you think about Tau as that, samurai ninja units of 3, drop, rather than a couple of big units. I guess that's okay. That's okay. You just watched my video. There's a lot of upset from Tau fans because of the crisis suits changing, I think, Craven. But they have crew, right? They have crew. They've got the new crew. They get closer with the crew as well. Just as Brother Dan said, one of the benefits is getting closer, and the crew want to get closer. They got stealth. It doesn't matter if you're an inch away or 6 inches away. -1 to hit. They got stealth. Tyranids, please. They are the big bad guys at the moment. Tyranids have a new 10th edition codex also. Yes. We can talk about Tyranids. What do you want to talk about the Tyranids? I mean, do we want to talk about the Tau? We can talk about whatever. Whatever you want to talk about. This is what I'm here for. We're here to chat. Let's have a chat. Friendly Neighborhood Inquisitor. People argue that the crisis suits lost their customizability, but everyone was just spamming Iron Blasters anyway. Or the Flechette Chargers? Was it the Flechette Chargers? I'm not sure they were called Flechette Chargers. But the ones that you get in the Tau Commander suit and you never got in the normal box, those are the ones that people were spamming the crap. Cyclonic? No. I forget which one they were. You can't take them anymore. Anyway, in the new thing. Illinois Farmer asks, Airburst Fragmentation Project, I'm not sure that's it, asks the first intelligent question of the stream so far. Have you added any new units to your 13th? He asks. Well, Illinois Farmer, thanks for asking. I've been playing with the 13th in this new edition, thinking I need to add some new stuff. And then this weekend, 2 lovely fine young cannibals flew all the way from Switzerland to the UK to play me at Warhammer 40k. They were members. They hit me up. They said, we're in Switzerland. Can we come to the UK to play you? And I said, yes, but you're mental, don't. And they said, no, we are. And then they did. And then they turned up and we played. And so I thought, the first guy, Josh, I played first company of the 13th. The second guy, James, played second company of the 13th. And playing the 13th 2 days in a row reinforced a thought that I'd had playing with the 13th in this edition, which is I don't have much big Dakar in my 13th collection. I have a lot of firstborn big Dakar in my collection, but not a lot of secondborn Primaris big Dakar in my 13th collection. So I thought I need some more big Dakar. Playing it over it cemented it. So literally turned up in the post today. I have a Redemptor Dreadnought. We are going to have 2 Redemptor Dreadnoughts. I wanted to get a third one. I'll not lie. Chat, do you think 3 Redemptor Dreadnoughts is too dirty? My finger was on the button for like 2. I can only have 2 Redemptor Dreadnoughts going forward, because in the future I might want 2 Ballistas Dreadnoughts and 2 Redemptor Dreadnoughts going forward. Now that's really dirty. But is 3 Redemptor Dreadnoughts walking forward really dirty? Or 2's pretty full. Is 3 okay? Evening Krug. Chat. Is 3 Redemptors too many? 2 Redemptors and a Brutalis, that's okay. 3 is a crowd pleaser. 3 is a crowd pleaser. Yeah. Do I get 3 or do I stick it at 2? At the moment, I felt dirty, so we're sticking at 2 Redemptor Dreadnoughts, walking up the table. I know 3 is the best way, but if you watched a battle report with me, Brother Dan, and it was the 13th battle report, and I've got as Wraith Rider rules guys say, two Storm Ravens and 3 Redemptors. So 2 Storm Ravens on the field, 3 Redemptors on the field, some Tech Marines walk around healing them up, making them all hit on 2s with the Iron Fist thingy bob, so they're all hitting on 2s all the time. If you saw that on Winter's SEO, you might be like, what is he doing? You know? 3 is perfect. 4 is too many because rules. That's the only reason. Perhaps try a Stylus. No, we don't get the Dreadnought Basilisk. No, it's just not very good. There's better guns out there for less money, points-wise. So 2 Redemptors coming. Honestly, this edition, 2 of each feels like the new 3 of each. And then I didn't have any of these. So I got 2 of them. So we've got 2 Redemptors. Well, I've already got a Redemptor, but we're going to have 2 Redemptors and 2 Gladiators. They're upside down. Added to the 13th shortly. So on the desk over there, what I need to do first is... so I've got up to about 3,000 points of Iron Hands now, which I haven't shown anyone any pictures of because I haven't really finished off the Raven Guard, because I'm finishing off the Raven Guard. Sat next to me are 25 assembled Raven Guard plastic. I need to assemble 10 more, then paint all 35 of them. Then that's the Raven Guard project done. Boom. And then I can announce the Iron Hands project. So I want to finish off the Raven Guard project and do the video on how I painted the Raven Guard, because lots of people asked for that one. Once they're all done, then we'll go on to adding a couple of big tanks to the 13th, 2 nice Gladiators, and a Redemptor Dreadnought. That will change the field. Plus, I've already got about 4,000 points of second company painted anyway, so it changes up quite a few things. And then by that point, if you wanted to see more Brutalis or more Redemptor Dreadnoughts, then any super chats at any time too soon are always welcome. So that's what I'm doing there. And then we'll do the Iron Hand stuff. And also, I got some new models turned up from Den of Imagination for the Sons of Horus, which I need to do a video on as well. So it's been a bit busy. It's been a mental few days, but I've had a lot of fun with the guys from Switzerland. And now I've got to get all them done. And then I get all them done. Then video for Sons of Horus, Raven Guard. I think and then we can start showing off some of the Iron Hands. And, and Den of Imagination are also doing a chunk of Orcs. And I did get 3 units of 6 of those Squig Hob. They're doing them. They're doing a lot of Orcs because I needed some of the newer Orcs mixed in amongst Murphy's Wire. So we're adding to the Orcs. We're adding to the 13th. Thanks for asking the question, whoever asked the question 21 hours ago, which is how are the 13th coming new models and things. Yes, that was the... Anyway. Coffee. Beautiful. Is there any more Old World coming? Yes, I filmed another Old World. I need to edit that. I might get it done for this Saturday. Otherwise, next Saturday. I tried a Ballistas and a Vanguard detachment. It did awful every game. Yeah, you don't really want... I wouldn't. I think there is... So what is a Ballistas doing? A Ballistas Dreadnought is filling a role in the Space Marine Army, which is a tough weapon platform. Okay, that's what it does. It's got lots of wounds, high toughness, weapon platform at range. And then you've got to think out in the whole of the Space Marine range, is there something that does it more efficiently for points, or is there something that just does more of it? And I think there's a lot of big gun units in the Space Marine decks that just have more guns than it, and or are smaller and cheaper, but you could bring more of them for it sits in a very weird slot. It would be really cool if the new Ballista Spree, instead of having the missile launcher las cannon variant, if it did the full-on mortis pattern dreadnoughts from back in the day. And mortis pattern dreadnoughts are ones with two of the same guns on the same side, so like autocannons, or plasma cannon, and if that was in the sprue, and then the rules around it actually reflect, that would be cool. Then it might actually find itself in a good spot, because the las cannon on the left arm does 2 shots, las cannon on the right arm does 2 shots. It's a lot of powerful las cannon shots. We like las cannons, but I think there's other units in the Space Marine Codex that perhaps fit the slot that the Ballistas is in that do it better. So I would put Gladiators or even a Land Raider. A Land Raider chucks out lots of firepower, is a tough, resilient gun platform like a Ballistas, and you get a transport capacity in it. Yes, it's a lot more expensive, but Land Raiders are just good now. Stop scratching at the door, kitty. You're not getting in. The reroll hits thing is why I tried it, especially with Overwatch and against 9. Yeah, and I mean, reroll hit sounds good, but you tend to be shooting the big guns from the Ballistas at your oath of moment target anyway, so you tend to be rerolling hits against that most of the time. In 10th, can't you just run an allied detachment of the armoured smaller knights, or is that gone with 10th edition? In 10th edition, you can add a knight to anything. I forget what the rules are for adding a little knight to something, but I know you can add a big knight to anything. So if you're doing the chaos things, you can add a big chaos knight. And if you're doing the imperial things, you can add a big imperial knight. I'm not sure if it's... Do you have and auxilia Winters? Yes. Yes, well, sort of. Well, yes, Sultan. Sultan's doing that. My unpaid intern, you may have heard of him. Sultan Plays, lovely guy, YouTube channel. Great opponent. Played a game recently with his Black Templars. That was lovely on YouTube, doing very well. The one for members that came out last Wednesday, the 3,000 point game between Blood Angels and Death Guard, that one's doing really well as well. That guy, Sultan, lovely guy. He's doing the Solar Auxilia because I'm trying to get him into Horus Heresy. And he loves the little Solar Auxilia models. He's painting them up. Check out Sultan Plays YouTube channel or on Instagram to see the paintings of the Solar Auxilia he's done. And then once there's a chunk of that done, I can get him playing the game, and also I can borrow for allied detachment, add a Solar Auxilia allied attachment to this list, or to this list, or to this list, and then hopefully get to a point where we can play Solar Auxilia all as one. Because the Solar Auxilia battle report came out on Sunday, I like Solar Auxilia. I want to see them on the tabletop. I want to play against them. I want to play with them. I'm not coming to the dark side. There isn't a 4-way match planned soon, but there is a 4-way match planned in July. So many, many months away. Getting 3 people, rounding up 1 person, stun gun, boom, and dragging them back to the lair and shocking them to play. I like 40k. Say the words. Say hello. You know, you shock, and then you make them play the game. Doing that to 3 separate people and catching them and bringing them all round at the same time and prodding them with the proddy stick, making them all say the words. It's an experience that few people sign up for, which is why I need the net and the stun gun. So it doesn't happen very often, the 4-ways. I wish they happened more. I do love filming a 4-way. Hi, Wrath of Constantine. He's in the chat all the way from America. He's got a half day off work. And you're catching this live. Do you want to talk about Tau, Wrath of Constantine? I'm not sure if anyone does want to talk about Tau. Stuart Fields is here all the way from New Zealand as well, a bit hanging off at the end. I know Solar Auxilia would be very expensive, right? Doing a whole Solar Auxilia army, because you need that box twice minimum. You're going to want a minimum of 80 guys. You're going to want a minimum of... So if I was doing Solar Auxilia, I would have a command squad with plasma in the backfield with my Legate Marshal stood inside it with a 3-up invulnerable save and mastercrafted Paragon weapon. And he would be with a unit of 10 guys, and they're in an Erosian armored transport, the big chonky armored transport you get in the box with the las cannon on it. Don't put the demolisher cannon on it. It costs 50 point more, and if you get shaken or stunned, you're not firing it anyway. Just put the las cannon on it, flare shield on it, 10 plasma guys in the back with your Legate Marshal. Done. Their job is to keep him alive and to intercept or shoot or kill any Terminators that manage to get back there. To get back there, they have to get back past 80 guys. That would be stubborn leadership 10 through the Legate Marshal. You'd have 2 units of 2 Vanquisher battle tanks firing out. Vanquisher battle tanks would both have the auto cannon, Vanquisher battle cannon, Layman Russes. So if the auto cannon hits, then the Vanquisher cannon is re-rolling all hits. You'd have 1 unit of 2, 1 unit of 2 with your dude in the backfield and 80 guys. They're your anti-tank. Your guys are mainly anti-infantry. Probably 2 plasmacutioners as well in your tertio because they're reinforced and they're one of the few things in the army that actually has breaching/rending. There's no nuncio voxes. There's no grav anywhere. The plasma caps out at strength 7 on that tank, which is painful. And there's a lack of rending anywhere in that army as well. And there's also a dryness of melter. So you need the anti-tank far where you can get it. You need the elite fire where you can get it. So 2 plasmacutioners as well. And if you had 2 plasmacutioners, 2 units of 2 Vanquisher battle tanks, 80 guys, your command squad in the backfield, all of that noise probably gets you up to about 2,000 points. And then you've got a really good Solar Auxiliary core to start building up from. You want that because you have to have that. If you're going up against Space Marines, you have to have the anti-tank capability of the Vanquishers. And you have to have the scoring opportunity from the troops and the anti-elite opportunity that they offer just by soaking. I mean, you want a dreadnought to go charging into a unit of 20 tertios that are stubborn leadership 10. You want that because that's the end of that dreadnought for the whole game. You almost want to charge that dreadnought with units of 20 guys. So that's your anti-dreadnought. Your anti-terminator is the plasma. Then you've got about 1,000 points left over. Then you can lean into what you want to do. So then if you want to go mass tanks, bring a lot of tanks. You want to go mass infantry, bring a lot of infantry. If you want to go mass elite, then I would probably then go elite stuff. Then I'd probably want a unit of 20 with storm axes and like 10 units, a unit of 10, unit of 10, unit of 10 veteran guys with their Volkite running around all over the place. But you could also add 1,000 points of massed artillery. But you need a solid core to build it around. And even if you don't build it around that exact core that I spelled out, then all of those things that are in that exact core are things that you would want at some point in a Solar Auxiliary army anyway. Half of that, 75% of that is usable all the time, I think. That's what you need to do. So how much money would that cost? You're looking at about 700-800 quid. So if you're in New Zealand, double that. If you're in America, put a third on top of that. So yeah, it's going to be over at north of $1,000 American dollars to do it. 700-800 quid in this country to do it. To have a good Solar Auxiliary list that can compete with Space Marines, but would probably die and lose most of the time anyway, because Space Marines, just if you ran your Space Marines all the time against Custodes all the time, you'd expect to lose more of the time than often. And that's heresy, and the rules are built with the narrative in mind, and I like it. That's the way it should be. Ah, dear. That's £30,000 in New Zealand's monies. Hi, Dats and Des. Dr. Feelgood, Malice Thun, happy that Games Workshop remembered that the Tower are a confederation of races instead of just battlesuits. Yeah, 9th edition was Codex battlesuits. Now they do recognise that it is a whole federation, and giving the group crew some love from a narrative point of view and lore point of view and models point of view is a good thing. I look forward to the day, maybe 10-15 years down the line, where we get 4 or 5 new Vespid model releases. And you get the Vespid Stingwings in plastic, and they come in Vespid exosuit things and Vespid other suits, and suddenly there's 4 or 5 different Vespid units that you can take in your Tau Federation, and they're still terrible. Hi, Sam. We need the Narloks back for the crew. We know they've got their Rampagers and the Kroot Rider. Yeah, they've got their big animals now. So they've got ridey things. So they're fine. They had Narloks. Narloks went extinct. Now they've got the Rampagers which are their versions of the Narlox. It's all part of their eco. They're all meat carnivore. They're a vegan's nightmare. These Kroot fellas. They wouldn't like them. Gearing up to read Night Lord series on your recommendation, dude. You'll like them. You'll like them. Gearing up to read Night Lord series on your recommendation. Curious as to why you like them so much. That's a big question. Do you mean I like them so much? Because I liked the Night Lords trilogy. Most people who read it or listen to it do. The audiobook for the Night Lords trilogy is fantastic. And a lot of people who ended up getting Night Lords armies after listening to or reading that trilogy. That's how good that is. On the battlefield as well, they're gorgeous to play against in Heresy, and the last few times I've met them in 40k, they've been gorgeous to play against as well. Do you like a Night Lords player? They tend to have lots of tattoos, smell slightly of onion, and like listening to The Cure. I'll have a long beard by the time Stingwings get overhaul. No man, Stingwings for the wing. We're gonna see this new Kroot rampage. It's Stingwings are gonna be coming. Codex Tau 11.2 or 12.7 or the next one, Stingwings. We're going to have Stingwings on mopeds, and the mopeds are going to have these rocket launchers on, and they're still going to be awful. Night Lords are so well written, they've portrayed it so well. You don't like them, but you learn to understand them. Yeah, I mean, ADB knocked it out of the park with the Night Lords trilogy. He does villains very well. The reason why they are where they are. They don't even like each other. That's one of the reasons why I like the Night Lords trilogy, because there's good guys in it who are bad. There's bad guys in it who are good. It's complex characterization driving the story. It's nice. 1,000 points of Storm Surges and 1,000 points of Kroot. Terrible idea. The Storm Surge is what, 450 points for an Imperial? I mean, it's the same cost as an Imperial Knight, or a Chaos Knight for that matter, only it can't fight. It just shoots. Yes, it's got a really big gun that can do a flat 12 damage, but it's got 2 shots, and you got to hit, and then you got to wound, and then the person will have a save. And then all the other guns on it are okay. The Seeker missiles are okay. They're not great. I mean, like I said earlier, what the Tau Codex need is those Seeker missiles need to be frightening. Imagine if Seeker missiles were strength 10, AP 4, 4 damage. If they were that, people are like, whoa, those missiles are a bit nasty, aren't they? And you have them on hammerheads as well, not Sky Rays. Then people are like, whoa, but they're not. They're strength 8 minus 2 damage, or minus 3 3. They are strength 8 minus 3 damage, which is nice, but there's 4. They're nice, but they're not stupid. And then they've got all the bursty guns, and it's the same cost as an Imperial Knight, and it can't fight its way out of a wet paper bag. But 2 of them and a bunch of Kroot is definitely not the list. Do you know what's worse list than 2 Stormsuit Surges and loads of Kroot? Imagine if they released new Vespids, and there's like 5 new different Vespid models, and as well as the one driving the scooter, there's a Vespid in like a fighter jet, and the Vespid has got this heads up thingy bob, so he's perfectly in tune with all the ordnance on this fighter jet. Vespid Stingwing like that with goggles on, perfectly in tune, all the guns all the time, and it's still terrible. No spoilers, but the parts of the Night Lords book where they are actually quite sympathetic are really tears-induced, especially whenever... Yes, the Night Lords book is very good. The Night Lords book is very good. Would recommend it to anyone listening. Check out the Night Lords trilogy. Get it on Audible or read it. It's good. I mean, I don't typically like books written about chaos very much. I'm not a chaos fan. When it comes to the Horus Heresy, all my favorite Horus Heresy books are Loyalist books. When it comes to my 40k reading palette, I've barely dabbled in any of the Chaos books, such as the Fabius Bar ones or Araman ones or any of that, because I'm not a fan. But the Night Lords trilogy, I like that very much. Oh dear. ADB understands our Stockholm syndrome and knows how yes, he's good. ADB is very good at writing characters. Him and Dan Abnett are very good at creating new characters. I mean, ADB is Argol Tal and Arkan Land and some iconic characters from the Horus Heresy. He does Abaddon Proud as well in Talon Horus and Thingy Bob, the other one, Black Legion. Dear. So, do we want to talk about Tau? I'm not sure I do. Do you want to talk about Tau? I feel like the addition is they're almost prescribing the way to play this edition with some of the unit changes and points changes and gun changes. They're not just saying, here's a chocolate box, pick what you want. They're also saying, here's the toolbox, you can pick what you want, but here's the things that you really should pick. Particularly if you want to run this data sheet, then pick all these things. I mean, it literally says that. If you want to run this data sheet, then pick all these things. And that is coming through the codex, telling you how to play it. And the big general one, like the Invasion Fleet or the Gladius Strike Force or the Kaon, the base one in each codex should be more open and more free. And even that one's a bit prescriptive. So that gets a little bit annoying. Unless the ways that they're asking you to play your certain codexes are good. So I'll forgive them when they get it right. So in the Necron Codex, I feel like they've got the Canoptic Court thing, the Hypercrypt thing. That codex feels good to me to play. Death Guard feel good to me to play. But is Tau too prescriptive? Is it too prescriptive? Or is this just Tau now? Tau are smaller hit and run suit units here, there and everywhere, and they really want you to bring some crew to gum up the board, and they really want you to, they're literally telling you, here's some big guns, here's some crew to gum up the board that you can recycle one unit in for 1 CP, and then all the other stuff you're trading and scoring points with. Is that what they're doing with the Tau? That doesn't, I mean, that sounds like a description of how to play them, but it doesn't sound like Tau. Because Tau sounds like, to me, we've got all the guns, you're dead if we see you. Yeah, it's boom. Or like strike in, get out again. That stuff. I don't know. Do we want to talk about Tau? What else? Does anyone want to talk about anything else but Tau? I showed you, I've got some of the 13th stuff. So we've got all of these. We're going to do them. Iron Hands thing. Today I finished painting off some more Raven Guard. He's my Herald. I think I showed some of you guys this stuff last week. That's the Sergeant. Yeah, I did. They're all done now. But got to do the Raven Guard video first before I show you all the Iron Hand stuff properly. That's the plan. And I haven't even edited the video for members tomorrow yet because it's been so mental. I've been so busy. Last week I played Luton on Tuesday, Sullivan Gilbert on Wednesday, edited the Tau video on Thursday and filmed it, played Just Greg on Friday, the Swiss guys on Saturday and Sunday. Monday, yesterday, we had to do like clean the house, go to town, run around, do all the bits that we haven't done the previous week. And then today, I got carried away with hobbying rather than actually edit the film, the video that I need to put up for tomorrow, which is a 40k start of a narrative campaign that I'm doing with Chewie. It'll be split up over whenever Chewie comes. I haven't even filmed part 2 yet, but when Chewie comes down, we'll film part 2. And when Chewie comes down for the third time, we'll film part 3. And the idea is to tie together a number of missions with Chewie. So Chewie, I've never done a narrative campaign with Chewie, and he's been coming here to play me for like 8 years. And he hasn't even done a campaign with me. And he was like, can I do a campaign with you? And I said, yes, Chewie, you can do a campaign with me. So now we can do it. It's called The Signal. And I need to edit the first one tonight for tomorrow. What are we talking about? That solo auxiliary leader was a G in that last battle report. He was. Plasma rifles range down to 18 inches is really annoying. Yeah. 18 inches with Tau. Most units then moving around. See, if you're 18 inches away and there's a unit that moves 8 inches towards you, say that unit could move 8 inches towards you and advance, then that unit is easily in charge range. The scariest, fastest charger units will be in charge range after you've moved around to shoot with your crisis suits. So your crisis suits now in units of 3 are trade units. You drop them in, you'll kill a thing, then you trade it out. You drop another thing in, you kill a thing, then you trade it out. It's not going to be big units of 6 moving around with commanders bullying people. That's gone. I finished the coffee. If you'd like to support me, then consider getting some merch from the merch store. Or you could become a channel member, which unlocks an extra battle report every single Wednesday if you get it on Tuesdays. I really appreciate all the members who are in the chat right now, everyone who supports me that way. Thank you very much. You are legends. I'm thinking about doing some member goals as well, like in another. People have the member goals running along the bottom. Having some of them. I don't know how to do the tech though, so we'll never do that. Tau. Any more questions and things? We've been running for 48 minutes, and I don't think people want to talk about the Tau. Badger King. Tau makes me sad. You shouldn't have brought a tide wall to your first event. 18 inches is criminal for Tau. Yeah, their flamers should be 18 inches, let alone the range of plasma weaponry. It should be... The Tau guns should be frightening. It's all they have. They can't punch you. It's all they have. They need to do their killing only in the shooting phase. They don't have options to do it in the shooting phase and in the fight phase. Yes, they can do a bit of killing in the fight phase. I mean, even if they bring Kroot along, normal Kroot are strength 4, AP-1 damage. They're not, at least they're hitting on 3s, I think, or maybe 4s. No, they hit on 4s instead of, I forget what. But Kroot aren't really hurting anything anyway. Maybe the Rampagers will hurt a little bit, but they're doing all their damage in the shooting phase, so their guns need to be cookies or brownies. Cookies, friendly neighborhood inquisitor. Cookies, obviously. Cookies are love. Cookies are life. Thank you for dropping a like, Viridian Shadows. Thank you. And if everyone would like to like the stream, that would be very helpful. We're at 32 likes. Let the algorithm know, the machine spirit know that you like this sort of thing. I don't know how it works. It's magic. But if you like and things, then the machine spirit wakes up. I think it's like the machine spirit is probably a hamster called Gerald, stuck in a box somewhere, and every time someone presses a like button, it drops a seed on Gerald. He's like, oh, and Gerald gets the seed, and Gerald gets the seed. But you know what? Even Gerald in his box getting seeds dropped on his head, even his data sheet is more deadly, and he has more use than a Vespid. Your XV9s are gone, the Badger King. Do you remember the Crisis Suits XV9s? They were called Hazard Suits, and they were from Forge World, and I don't think they're even a Legends choice anymore. And the XV9 Hazard Suits from Forge World were particularly chunky. When they first came out, they had an extra wound or toughness or something, but they were close range, twin flame, or twin burst hazard suits. They were supposed to be close. They were supposed to be trade units. They were supposed to shoot the enemy and then hit and run away. And they've gone completely. Now all the suits are, you're supposed to play them like XV9 suits, just even normal suits. You have 3 of them, and the HQ, they look so good. The XV9s are some of my favorite Tau models that they made, but they don't do them anymore, do they? Tau look great, but very different. Retaliation and Montcar have great list variation. Breacher Span will be extremely powerful in Montcar, and the enhancements are amazing. Yeah, the Retaliation with the 3-inch deep strike fire and fade is going to be useful. So drop in within 3 inches, you'll have +1 strength and an extra AP, and so with the fire knife one with the fusions, you'll be re-rolling wounds and re-rolling damage. You can definitely drop in with one of those units, nuke something quite effectively, and then fire and fade and get out of there. Whether you're going to be able to get far enough away from the reprisal that's going to hit the unit that did that or not is going to depend very much on the shape of the battle and where you find yourself in the battle. If you drop behind enemy lines to do that in the first couple of turns, then it doesn't matter where you move, that unit that drops in back there is going to die. If you drop out on the flank in turns 3, 4 or 5 on a unit that's somewhat isolated, then you will certainly be able to drop in, shoot them, hurt them, boom. But remember, I say turns 3, 4 or 5, I mean turn 3. Because you're dropping in from reserve. You're not doing it in turns 4 or 5. You're dropping in turns 2 or 3. So you might be able to pull off some shenanigans then, but you're gonna be trading those units in most cases. I think Tower a good example of what this edition is. Just a bit average. Yeah, see this edition. There's some things that people love about this. They've hit and they've missed. There's some great things. I mean, we all miss the points, right? We all preferred a bit more points. The points phase, actually working out what your army was. Having a beer, a cup of tea and some hobnobs, writing out a list. We all miss that, I think. But there's some pluses in this edition, like here's a character, attach it to a thing. Now it does. Characters attaching to things now is cool. That's pretty cool. The mission deck, for most cases, for most casual games, the Leviathan mission deck is a pretty good mission deck. But yeah, Shekel, we miss points so much. Genuinely, I know. That's one of the good things about Heresy is they've still got that old point system, so working it all out is gorgeous. But 40k, no points for you. No points. No capes. Absolutely no capes. Battleshock is a joke. It is. Battleshock was a nice idea, poorly executed, right? Like, make it half movement and -1 weapon skill, -1 ballistic skill, then it will matter. Yeah, exactly. Say a unit. I mean, I would say a battle-shocked unit can only hit on 6s. Make it significant. And it's the same for everyone. It doesn't matter how big or bad, or, if your unit is battle shocked, it only hits on 6s. Or if your unit is battle shocked, it immediately falls back towards your board edge 2d 6 inches. Now I know that is straight from Heresy, but that's the only rule I would apply to it. I just say so units actually break and push back. In 40k, you'll say units can't be pushed off the board. In 40k, you can say, you just push in your turn, you have full control over it again, and you can move it, do what it can. But imagine if in 40k, it wasn't as harsh as it is in Heresy, but in 40k, when units fail morale, they literally move away 2d 6 inches, move away 2d 6 inches, move away. Suddenly the game, there'll be some dynamism. Battle shock will be significant because people will be moving off of objectives, falling back. You'll lose control, like a commander does sometimes of his army. Battle shock means something significant, not all of a sudden, I can't spend that stratagem on, I wanted to spend it on. Or they've got an OC of 0, it doesn't really matter, I'll move this other thing around there, they'll do the OC. Battleshock was a nice idea, poorly executed. Mitch, not Keith or Rob. Winters, got my ticket with friends to March of Winters. Nice, man. Mitch, not Keith or Rob. Make sure you come up to me and say hi. Hi, I'm Mitch, not Keith or Rob. Because I don't think we've met. So come up to me when you come to March of Winters. For all those that don't know, there is an event, one-day Horus Heresy event happening on the 16th of June. 2-day 40k event. And the one on the 16th of June is somewhere in Berkshire. The 2-day 40k event happening on the 23rd and 22nd, 23rd of June is at Firestorm. And the one-day event, March of Winters, is happening on the 6th of October at Element Games in Manchester. These are events all available to channel members, the community events. I'm going to all of them. I'm running the March of October ones. I will see you there. Mitch, not Keith or Rob. And we will herd cats. We will play dodgeball with squigs. It will be fun. The points limit for March of Winters is 1,111 points. No Titanic units. So 1/1/111st birthday with no Titanic units. You'll love it. Good evening, Rick Shazam. Thanks for joining the chat. Joseph Troon will be there as well. You missed the time before stratagems and command points existed. Reactions are so much cleaner. One of the good things about playing Heresy is it makes 40k feel fresher. And one of the things about playing 40k is it makes Heresy feel fresher. I feel like if I was just playing one, like I was doing before I picked up Heresy 2.0, I was only playing 40k mainly. And some little... If I was... Now at this point, I feel like they complement each other in my brain, at least anyway. 40k is a strategy game with stratagems, and you simulate it on the tabletop with your miniatures, which have wounds and movement, and they're not slow by terrain, and it's a simulator strategy game. That's what it is. And I like going up against orcs. I like going up against Tyranids. I like crushing Eldar. That's nice, and it's relatively easy to set up. The Leviathan mission deck makes it fairly complicated to play. And I really need to film some more videos where we're not using the Leviathan mission deck. We'll be doing that more, so you can just play. Heresy is more of a war game because things happen to you that you have no control over, and the dice do things. The dice really do tell a story in that game, and the story starts telling itself right from the setup. Like, oh, this person's going first, unless I steal the initiative. They're setting up first, going first, so I'm going second. And it right straight from word go, Heresy starts, stories start emerging. The vehicle blew up, the unit got out, and now they're pinned. And then they get charged by the other unit, and they can't react from the other unit because they're pinned. And then in the fight in the middle, almost everyone dies, except for your pinned hero Praetor that finally manages to kill the chaplain. So it means they're not stubborn anymore. And then you break them, and then you flee, and then you rip them apart. And your Praetor stood there looking around going, everyone's dead. And then he gets shot in the head by a las cannon because it's your opponent's turn. It's glorious. But 40k is more of a stratagem combat simulator thing going on these days. It's the difference is the jungle is massive. What did one monkey say to another monkey? Jungle is massive. I'll be happy to chuck stratagems in the bin, says Monkey. I like the reactive part of stratagems. Is a way of bringing interaction into it, isn't it? So your opponent can be doing things when you're doing things as well, but they could streamline the whole stratagem system. It could be streamlined a bit more, which would probably make it better, I would argue. So Winters, here's another question. With you being on the GW mailing list, do you ever watch do I watch reveal shows such as Adepticon? No. No, I don't. Most of the time, I can't even talk about what I'm not allowed to talk about when I'm very aware of the NDA stuff, so I just try not to talk about it at any point. Let's just say no, I don't bother watching Adepticon or reveal shows anymore. Even before Games Workshop, with the NDA and all the things, I didn't really watch them that much anyway. But I did pay, and I do pay attention to new sites, which flash up information every now and then. But mainly, I'm paying attention to my wonderful community, and I pay attention to the Discord. If something happens on the internet, my wonderful community in the Wonderful Winters SEO Discord, they're talking about it already. They've seen the thing. So I check in the Discord frequently. And when there's new reveals, they'll be talking about the thing. When there's a new codex, they'll be talking about the thing. When there's a new Necromunda thing, they'll be talking about it. It'll be in the Discord. They'll be chatting about it. I love the fact that my Discord, the 13th Fleet themselves, the fleet, they're a chatty bunch. And it keeps me up to speed with everything. Definitely looking forward to the Chaos reveals. Everyone's looking forward to the Chaos reveals, Stuart Fields. Chaos need. Can you get... I'm not even sure you can get obliterators in a box on their own yet. Chaos range needs a bit... I mean, Chosen are still tiny. We need big Chosen, don't we? Yeah, getting everything kind of early. It does take the fun. Yeah, I don't get everything kind of early, but I do have a heads up on a lot of stuff. So, yeah. So, for example, the Tau... I've been sat on that for... Yeah, so, yes, you guys are fresh with the Tau. I'm not as fresh with the Tau with you. And that's why Sultan has the book now. Because Sultan's put together a Tau army that we could play this weekend. And it'd be glorious. Yeah, I was reading things today, for example, which may or may not be coming in the future. And because things may or may have turned up today, which got me very excited about things that may or may not be coming in the future, for example. So it's all a bit, it gets very blurry. Everything's so blurry. Everything's so grey. Chaos will be sweet. I'm looking forward to the Chaos. I do want to see obliterators in their own box. I do want to see honkier Chosen, you know, so they're all honked up with all the horns and all the spikes and all the things. Because if you put the Chosen sculpts next to the new Chaos Space Marine sculpts, which look good, by the way, then they look very small. So they need some honk to them and make noises like honk when they're playing their instruments. Maybe we're going to get some proper Emperor's Children noise marines going honk, doing all the honky things with blairy drums and guitars and honks. I don't know why you know, honk is a horn and I'm playing a honky thing. No, that is a guitar thing. That goes twang, not honk. You know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to the Chaos stuff. There is some clear gaps in the Chaos range which need fixing as far as models can go. And yeah. Yes. Chaos have been it's been one of the factions that they didn't screw up royally in the last edition or with the indexes yet. They haven't screwed them up yet. They still feel chaosy. And there's still some good juice in there for the tournament players to play with. And there's also enough juice in there because there's enough units and the mark thing. There's enough juice in there for some narrative lists and some narrative ways of playing. I do think Chaos Space Marine at the moment is both narratively and competitively that their range, they're in a good place. They're in a good place. So hopefully the codex doesn't screw it up, and hopefully there's some nice juicy new models that gives them some proper honk. Will that Dreadnought be ready for part 3? Probably. When is part 3? Next week. Probably not. Maybe. I wouldn't put money on it. Yeah, so Rick Chavan is asking, because again, because there's loads of people in the chat here who are in the community. I can see loads of 13th Fleet members. You'd have watched. Hands up if you've seen the Emperor's Children versus the 13th Narrative Crusade that I'm running with Rick Shazam. Like we did the first 2, they're for members, and we did one at the Watchtower of Ammon Null, and then the second one was in the Chondrax, one of the capitals of Monthax, with the hands up. Yeah, that's good. A few people with the swamps and the vehicles that could get immobilized, and Emperor's Children were moving to take the crossroads in the city in the middle of Chondrax before they could secure the AO and move out. And we did 2. And then basically, quite a few people. Nice. Well, basically, Rick Shazam has been painting furiously to get together the 3rd list. This will be the Return of the King. This will be Return of the Jedi. This is part 3. Okay, this is the end of the trilogy, and he's coming next weekend. Hello, Rum Diaries. So I don't think I'll have that done by next weekend, unless I put everything else aside and focus on that. Which suddenly you've given me an idea. Maybe I don't do all of them. I could do some painting now because I've got to do some editing tomorrow. Got to make the Den video. I want to make that one on the tanks tomorrow. Playing the next day with Archon John. Friday we're off out. Johnny V on Saturday. Sultan on Sunday with the Tau. Monday's normally the day off. Wraith Rider's coming on Tuesday. And then I'll be doing live stream Tuesday night. Wednesday evening I could do the Dreadnought. Next Wednesday evening. The next day got the vets visits family. Could do the Friday, and then we're on the Saturday. There's 2 days to assemble in that time that I could do the Dread. There'll be Ewoks. There will not be Ewoks in the trilogy, but we will finish off the trilogy with Rick Shazam, and it'll be a nice 3,000 point chunky number of Emperor's Children versus the 13th. Find out how that story ends. Which way the world ends. Looking forward to it. And at the same time, as I said earlier, I'm doing a bit of this carrot campaign thing with Chewie as well. So building up his narrative, building up. It's good stuff. I'm well in it right now, guys. I am well in the hobby thing. Is there anyone else deep in the hobby mojo right now? How deep are you in the hobby mojo right now? I am deep in it. I've been listening to audiobooks. I've been watching battle reports. I've been painting. I've been assembling. I've been filming. I've been reading tomes. I've been buying stuff for the 13th. I've got much more stuff down here. Is anyone deep? Anyone? No one. No one's deep right now. Super deep in the painting hobby mojo. Wrath of Constantine, you're super deep. Viridian Swallows is balls deep. There's 2 people who are deep right now. It's nice that a couple of you are deep. Because when you've got to ride that hobby wave when it gets you, right? When it comes over you like a giant tsunami, you just got to ride it. Because there'll be times when it's not coming over you. And you don't want to ride it no more, you know? Got a 30k Old World and 40k events in the next 2 months. I'm truly sucked in. You've got 30k Old World and 40k. In 2 months, you've got 3 different events for 3 different game systems. Legend. Johnny Rockstar demoralized by Tau. Wrath of Constantine. Yes. You are coming on Friday, the 5th of April, all the way from America land, from Mercure. Can you bring some guns with you? Some guns and alcohol, please. Guns, tobacco, and firearms. Bring some ATF with you. We'll have a party in the back garden. We'll fire our guns. We'll smoke all the tobacco. And we'll drink all the alcohol or something like that. Or smoke the alcohol, fire the firearms, drink the tobacco. ATF. I'm sure it's an agency. You could probably get an app to join the ATF or something. And then if you join the ATF, then they'll help you with your alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. I think that's how it works. I saw it on this movie once. So yeah, looking forward to our game. That'd be good. Birding Eye is locked in. Kip bashing. Viridian Shallows. Listen to Warhawk painting up Auxilia and a narrative event next Saturday. It's balls deep. Wraith Rider also got your inner circle companions to paint, even though they're terrible in game. They look so cool. It's all about the cool, Wraith Rider. It's all about the cool, Wraith Raider. It's how many models have I painted because they look cool, regardless of the rules or not? If it looks cool, got to ride that hobby mojo. Got to ride it hard. Trying to go deep. Those real world armbands keep pulling me back up. I know it's hard to jump in to the deep end of the swimming pool, particularly if you've got armbands. And at the end of the armbands, there's like work and children and zombies ripping you backwards and devouring your brains. Deep for the Hobbypocalypse. The Hobbypocalypse is going well this season. We're on month 3 of the Hobbypocalypse. Are there any Hobbypocalypteers in the chats? Hands up for Hobbypocalypse people in the chat. Are you in the Hobbypocalypse, and are you doing your $2.50 a month? Who was I talking to the other day? He was like, he lives for Hobbypocalypse. Literally does every Hobbypocalypse all the time. Hands, says Badger King, does all the Hobbypocalypses all the time, every year. $2.50 a month, every month, sharing the photos, sharing the progress, chatting to the other Hobbypocalypteers inside in the 13th Fleet, in the Discord. Hands, maybe hands. Johnny Rockstar's not quite sure. Sometimes you can never be sure. I did do the Hobbypocalypse once. I did all my Necrons. That was lovely. That was 2022. Last year's project was Isfahan 3. Smashed that. This year is Iron Hands. I should pay more attention to that. What's that? You painted 6,000 points of Marines last year. Jenny and Jens Mueller's in, Johnny Rockstar's Man, which in, Badverkin's Handlots. Yeah, 6,000 points in a year. That's a lot of Space Marines to paint in the mirror. I suppose, Stuart, because you're in New Zealand, like watching sheep and stuff, then you've got plenty of time up in the paddocks and the high meadows and the high pastures. You can sit up there in the bright, cool air with the natural light painting away all the time. Wish I could do the Hobbypocalypse, just not steady enough. 800 points. 800 points 1 month, 0 the next month. That's what I mean about the hobby wave. When it gets you, when it grabs you, you've got to let it grab you, let it tickle you in all the right places. And when it lets you go and leaves you bruised and abused in the gutter on the floor, the hobby mojo just drops you like the wet sack of smelly flesh that you are. And you peel yourself off the ground, drag yourself into a shower thinking, I haven't showered for a month because all this paint all over my hands, but look at all these wonderful creations I've made. And the hobby mistress leaves you alone. It's hard. It's hard. You just don't touch the hobby no more. You don't want to go near the hobby no more. You've been abused by the hobby no more. But then the hobby mistress will come back round, waving something at you. Something cute. Something flirty, something with guns, something with blades. And you're like, ugh, don't tempt me, Frodo. And then you'll see something online and it'll be a bit more revealing. Instead of just the guns and the things, you'll see rocket pellet grenades, flame launching sharks with freaking laser. And then you're back into the hobby mojo. And you're riding it, and you're just deep, and you're deep, and you're deep, until once more, like a recurring addict, you find yourself just broken on the floor. What's that song? Was that broken on the floor? You never change into something real. I'm wide awake and I can see the perfect tie is done. That one. You feel like that afterwards. Yeah. So you got to ride the hobby mojo when you can. Sheep hairbrushes, key to success. New Zealand's best kept secret. Boom. There you go. New Zealand's best kept secret. Using sheep's hair, otherwise known as wool. Kind of like a train spotting. I know, right? Ah, dear. Fine. I'll do it anyway. It's just, yeah, you got to ride that hobby mojo when you can. Anyway, my hobby mojo is, I'm firmly riding it right now. I should work on the new stuff. I mean, Rick Shazam has smashed out a bunch of new models in time for the last 3,000 point game between the Emperor's Children and the 13th. It would be rude for me not to do the Redemptor Dreadnought and Gladiator in time, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? Or should I just focus on... There's such a list. I need to think now. And I also need to edit the Wednesday's video for Winter's members. I need to get that done for tomorrow. And what is the time? What is the time? It's 8 o'clock. About 2, yeah, that's enough time. So, this is your 2-minute warning. Thanks for joining me this evening. It's been a lovely chat. And we asked the question at the beginning of the chat, do we want to talk about the Tau? And at this point in the chat, I think we can clearly see that the answer to that question is mostly no. Mostly no was the answer to that question. Some people did, but not very much. And that tells me everything I need to know about the new Tau Codex. Tau players are just not really that excited to play it, are they? Some are, obviously. Some people obviously are. But most, you don't have all the Tau players going, I really need to play, I can't wait to get my hands on. None of that. A sad day to be a Tau player. Great day if you're a Recruit player, though. Hi, Simply Warhammer Andy. The 30k white scars are coming along nicely. Brilliant. When you said, I'm going to do them, here we are like 1 week or 2 weeks later, and you're already doing them. Smashing out. Remember, they're mainly a shooty army. You can have some... if you're doing the bike thing, it's mainly a shooty army, and if you're doing close combat in the bike thing, then you're talking about command squads and also their Legion-specific ones with their lancers. Boom. That's pretty much it. If you're doing the Keshig one on foot, then you're fine. Terminators outflanking, choosing the turn along with that guy. Q-Gar, the name guy in it, you want him. And then that's fine. That one's you're okay about. But and then they can be close combat orientated. But bike scars, white scars, are mainly a gun hit and run out. They don't want to be embroiled in combat for long periods of time unless it's a very specific unit, their Legion specific one, or command squad's doing it. The rest, no. I'm going to say you play bike scars, because otherwise you're just going to set yourself up for a hard run. Anyway, I shall bring you a wool paintbrush next month in exchange for a mug. Okay, deal. If you bring me a wool paintbrush, I will give you a mug, and you can join the mug club. And also, I will give you a mug club member sticker, which you can stick on the side of your aunt or your niece or somewhere else. A caterpillar. You stick that on the side of a caterpillar. It will keep the caterpillar warm in the wintertime as well. Mug club members. Mug club. Unite. Right, okay. Thank you for stopping by. That was lovely. I'm going to go. I've got to edit the thing. Nice to chat. I feel really bad for Tau people. But, sometimes, I mean... Sometimes Tau. Where's the thing? There's the thing. I'm getting distracted. Yes, sometimes that happens. Sometimes you eat the Karnak, and sometimes the Karnak eats you, as Abraham Gauntz once said. Happy wargaming.